You sent the message 10 minutes ago. 2 small check marks. No reply. And your chest feels tight, like something is actually wrong. Nothing is wrong. You know this. But you check your phone anyway. Then again. Then once more, just in case. You might tell yourself you are being impatient, or needy, or checking your phone too much. But that explanation misses something important. Your brain may not be overreacting. It might be running a very old alarm system. And that system was never built for silence like this. Here is the strange part. Silence used to mean something specific. For most of human history, people lived in small groups, face to face. If someone went quiet on you, you could usually tell why, right away. A look, a tone, a turned shoulder. Now silence just means nothing yet. No information at all. And your brain hates that gap more than it hates bad news. Psychologists call the system that reacts to this your attachment behavior. John Bowlby, one of the founders of attachment theory, described how humans are wired to seek closeness with the people we depend on and to feel real distress when that closeness feels uncertain. This system does not switch off after childhood. It runs quietly under adult relationships too, in friendships, in partners, even in ordinary texting. When a reply doesn't come, your attachment system has no way to know if the other person is busy, annoyed, fine, or slipping away. So it treats the gap as a possible threat, just to be safe. Why would something this small feel like an actual threat? Because your body doesn't only think about social distance, it reacts to it. Naomi Eisenberger and her colleagues found that social rejection can activate some of the same neural regions involved in processing physical pain. That finding is still debated among researchers, and it does not mean an unanswered text feels identical to an injury, but it points to something real. Being cut off from someone, even briefly, is not just an abstract worry sitting in your head. Your body can respond to it as if something had actually happened to you. Kipling-Williams studied this with a simple experiment called Cyberball, where people tossed a virtual ball back and forth with 2 other online players. When the other players quietly stopped throwing the ball to one person, even though everyone knew it was just a computer game with strangers, that person still reported feeling hurt and left out. Minds do not need much evidence to feel excluded. Sometimes a pause is enough. Think about the last time you were waiting on a reply. Maybe from someone you're dating. Maybe from a manager, after an email you weren't fully sure about. Maybe just a friend who usually answers fast, and today isn't. Your mind starts filling that blank space with stories. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Did I misread this whole situation? None of those stories have any evidence behind them yet. They only have silence. And your brain would rather write a worried story than sit with no story at all. Notice something else. A stranger leaving you on red barely registers. A close friend doing the same thing can sit in your chest for hours. That difference is not random. Your attachment system does not treat every relationship equally. It saves its loudest alarms for the people you actually depend on, the ones whose closeness matters to your daily life. The more the bond means to you, the more expensive uncertainty about it feels, and the harder that old system works to resolve it. Group chats add another layer. You can watch other people get replies while your own message sits there, untouched. Now the silence isn't just quiet. It looks like it was chosen. Your mind rarely reads that as a scheduling accident. It tends to read it as a small verdict about where you stand. There's a physical reason for that too. Robert Sapolsky, who studies the biology of stress, has pointed out that unpredictability and lack of control are 2 of the strongest triggers for a stress response, sometimes stronger than the bad event itself would be. Waiting for a reply checks both boxes at once. You don't know when it's coming, and there is nothing you can do to make it arrive sooner. So your body treats not knowing the way it might treat a small, ongoing threat. Mild alertness, a restless kind of energy, that pull to check your phone one more time. Here is the part that tends to surprise people. Checking again usually does not calm you down. It resets the weight. Natasha Dauschul, who studies the design of systems built to hold attention, has written about how unpredictable rewards, sometimes a reply, sometimes nothing, keep people checking far more than a predictable schedule ever would. Your phone was not designed with your attachment system in mind, but it behaves in a way that plugs directly into it anyway. Every unlocked screen with no new message becomes a small confirmation that the wait continues, and every check resets the itch instead of settling it. John Cacioppo, who spent decades studying loneliness, described something he called social monitoring, a kind of background alertness to cues about where you stand with other people. When you feel uncertain about a connection, that monitoring system turns up its volume. You start scanning for clues almost without deciding to. Did they read it? Are they typing? Why did the typing bubble stop? None of this is a willpower problem. It is a mismatch. An old alarm system, built for face-to-face closeness, running inside a communication tool built on delay, ambiguity, and read receipts that only ever tell you half the story. Read receipts were built to add information. In practice, they often just narrow the story down to one that hurts more. Delivered but not read leaves room for a dozen harmless explanations. Read, and still no reply removes most of them. Now your brain has less room to imagine something ordinary and more room to imagine something personal. And it isn't only about romance or friendship. The same discomfort shows up while waiting on test results, a job response, or a callback with no clear timeline. Different context, same old wiring, treating uncertainty about connection or outcome as something worth guarding against. None of this means every anxious wait points to a deeper problem. Most of the time, it is simply an old system doing its job a little too enthusiastically, in a world it was never designed for. When that discomfort becomes constant or starts shaping most of your relationships, that's usually worth talking through with someone you trust or a professional who can look at it more closely with you. The next time you're waiting on a reply and you feel that pull to check your phone again, you might pause on one small question. Am I checking because I actually expect new information? Or am I just trying to make the discomfort of not knowing go away for a second? You probably won't stop checking your phone entirely. That isn't really the point. But noticing the difference between those two urges hands you back a small piece of choice in a moment that usually feels completely automatic. You sent the message 10 minutes ago. Still no reply. Your chest still feels tight. But now you know that tightness isn't proof that something is wrong. It's just an old system doing an old job in a much newer kind of silence.